And we're already ramping away at the new year.
Oh, man.
And we're going to give you some
Time flies.
valuable tips and practical insights.
Yes, sure. That's it.
About real estate. So
That's it. About small market real estate.
yes. And so our, today is going to be talking about something that's kind of misconstrued sometimes. There's this false sense of, I don't know.
I usually follow you really well.
But you're
and
not.
today I'm like,
I'm
who
just
are
saying.
you?
So there's so much stuff in there. Yeah. I had 2 days of sitting and thinking, tearing out sheetrock.
Huh.
And so I think this one's one of those that education has not been clear to everyone. And so there's this false
What are we
notion
talking about first?
for sale by owners.
For sell by owners.
We call them Fizbos.
So we do. And I feel like that is such a weird name.
It is a weird name.
Fizbo.
Fizbo.
Well, there's a Fizbo over on 13th Street.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? Fizbo for sale by owner.
Yep.
Okay, so we want to talk about for sale by owners because I found this really incredible article, and I can't remember where I found this, but I can tell you the author was Melissa Dittman.
Mm-hmm.
But so she talks about this survey, and it was only a survey of 1,000 home sellers. So I realize that this is a small pocket, and I don't know where the survey was. I realize that's a different small pocket, but I feel like this is a pretty good picture of things that we've heard. And just from the information that we have, even from for sale by owners that end up calling us and saying, I'm in a pickle and I need help. So I feel like this is a pretty good representation of some true factual info. But I also just want to do the disclaimer. 1,000 people surveyed. These are some responses. Good?
Yes.
Did we get all the bookkeeping done?
I hope so.
All right. So we want to talk about why for sale by owners say that they regret not using a real estate agent, which sounds so very self-serving, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
I
it
don't
does.
mean for it to be, though,
Yeah.
because our show really is about practical tips and valuable insights. And I think that this is very helpful. I also feel like, we talk to a lot of people, and you always say, we want to do what's best for you. If you believe that it's best for you to go ahead and do this on your own, go for it. And if you end up in a pickle, give us a call and we'll see if we can help. Like, we get that. So,
Yeah.
so I don't feel like, as self-serving as it might be, I really think that in our day-to-day interactions, that we're a little more gracious than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
hope.
I ran
I want us to
into
be.
I ran into an individual at United. Her house is for sale. I ran into her, and I almost ran into her. But
Oh, you
that's
ran
okay.
into her. Did you drive over her with
almost,
your truck?
almost. No.
Brakes
partners-
work fine.
Yeah, they work fine. I pull up, she pops her trunk, and I'm about squishes her between her hood and her but no, she's alive. No, I ran into her. We got to talking, and I said, hey, how's the house selling going? She goes, well, it's slow. I'm frustrated. And I said, well, the whole market's slow. It's
Right.
not your house, and it's not you. It's this time. And in this time, it's just tough. It's just tough right now. So I said, if you need us, do not hesitate to call.
Right.
I'm not going to go out and help market your house, and I'm not going to go sell your house. I'm going to hunt you down to sell your house because I've got customers to take care of. But if you run into a snafu type mess deal, just call us. We'll jump right on it.
You just said something really, really interesting that is not actually in my notes and it's not one of my little key points, but we do know what the market is doing. But if you're sell by owner, if it's slow, they don't know. Is this across the market? Is this me? Am I not doing it right? Am I not putting it in the right place? Is it this, that, or the other? Do I need to paint the front door purple now? Like, I think that must be which we are going to get there. That must be a really stressful part. We'll come back to that, I guess. Okay, let's start with this. So 1,000 people in the survey. This was in 22 and 2023. Survey responders said that they realized they made less money on their home, face more stress by not using a professional representative. And so where this really comes in is, first, why would they go for sell by owner versus using an agent? So, I always compare this to, like, why would I change my own oil instead of going to the dealership?
Right.
Because I could do it cheaper.
Yes.
I could do it when it's convenient to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why else would I change I'm trying, like, This is so
to
far
make
from
sure
my.
it's done exactly like you want it done. Like,
Okay,
I
yes,
want to
so
make
that I'm
sure
100%
my
in
oil
control.
my oil plug is exactly perpendicular to the tire.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Like, I'm not that.
Okay, here, maybe this would be better. Bumpers. I might be getting new bumpers.
Oh, sweet.
There's actually no issue. Like, I don't even think you can tell that there's a little scuff on my bumper. I mean, it's so tiny. It is so tiny. But immediately when I saw the whole thing happening, we had a buyer accidentally back into just the corner of my bumper, just tiniest bit. Like, I could see it and I thought, oh, he'll know. And then he didn't know. And then I was like, well, it's okay. It's just a little bit. And like, this is really not my norm, is it? But I could see it all playing out, so I knew it was fine. I immediately thought, I've been wanting new bumpers. Yesterday, the buyer's wife said, honey, how's your bumper? And I said, well, I'll be honest. I really wanted new bumpers, but all you did was knock the dirt off. And so here I am deciding if I'm going to get new bumpers. So for sale by owner, why would I put the bumpers on myself? Because my husband and I have this discussion already. Well, my son and I can do this. And I'm like, well, maybe my son and I can do this. Don't laugh too hard.
We have a race front back. Go.
And he said, why? Why would you do that? Well, there's kind of a pride in this. Mm-hmm. So in the Jeep world, and I think that this is similar in the home world, there's kind of a pride of saying, well, I did this on my own. I researched how to do it. And I made this effort here and I made this effort here. And then I succeeded in getting it done. So I can see why a person would maybe want to sell their home on their own. It would be cheaper for me than to pay the dealership to put the bumpers on. It makes me feel more comfortable because when I go into the dealership, sometimes they don't know that I might have actually done some research and they might treat me like I don't know anything. And so there's a comfort for sell by owner or putting on my own bumpers of me not having somebody make me feel a little bit less than because I'm doing it on my own instead of putting myself in a position where somebody who knows more might talk a little different to me and I go, I don't know what they're saying. So maybe comfort, right? Like I can see all the different things because I have that own independent streak of my own, right?
Right.
So I get that. I think the biggest thing is saving money. Like I think we always think we're going to save a chunk of money.
And
maybe. Except then I'm like, but time is money.
So we had this discussion yesterday with Ashlyn. So I demoed a lot of her basement sheetrock because there was some stuff that was in there.
Right. It needed to have some work done.
It needs some more done.
That's fine.
And so I went up and I was just going to hire it all done because I would have to take 2 days off worth of work. Which
Right.
Normally I would just hire it done, but I like to hang out and have an excuse to go to Wichita. So I went up, and the other thing is I wanted to see how bad it was.
Yes.
So I went in, I stripped all the sheetrock off, and now she's like, okay, we're going to go put all this back on. I said, are you kidding me? I'm going to hire that done. I'm not putting sheetrock up on the walls because, yes, I can do it. I don't like doing it. I'm not perfect. Everybody knows me, not a detail guy. So I'm just going to slap some mud on it, and it's going to not be great. I did do some trim work. Thank the Lord for caulking. Because, again, I'm not a detail guy. But so I did the things I felt comfortable doing and I wanted to do, but I'm going to hire the sheetrock done.
Right.
The guy's going to do it way cheaper than me. I feel like I was there 2 full days. I started at 7 and I quit at 10 both days. Well, not yesterday, but I got home at 10. But I feel like I spent 5 hours at Lowe's and Home Depot and Menards both days.
Because you kept having to run back and forth, back and forth.
Gosh, darn it.
Because even though you knew what you were doing, you didn't know what you were doing.
Right. I didn't
Right?
and I didn't have all my tools. I wasn't prepared and I wasn't ready and I don't have this. And so if you're taking your bumpers off, do you have the right wrench?
Right.
Yeah. Do you have the right tool?
Right.
So that was part of my problem.
So then if I've spent like triple the time for me to just take it to the dealership, say, here's my bumpers, put them on. Sometimes it's like, I do think it's probably, actually, I'm still out on this. I mean, here's the thing. I'm actually out on this. So for sale by owners, just know we're in this boat together.
Yes.
Because I really kind of want to, I kind of want to play with my Jeep by myself. Well, I mean, not by myself. Like I would love for Jack and me to play with the Jeep. I know though that I would save a lot of stress, a lot of heartache, and probably a few tears if I just pay for the bumpers, take him to the dealership and have them put it on. Like I know this. Yep. So I think that this does really transfer over to the home selling world, though. commission sounds horrific when we start talking percentages.
Yes.
When you start putting the number, I mean, 6,000 for 100,000, 12,000 for 200,000, 18,000 for 300,000. How am I doing? Mm-hmm. Brian's like, I had no idea she had a dinner. I get it. That sounds, I know it sounds horrible. But whenever you start looking at all the different other things that fall underneath that, I think that you can kind of start, well, that takes the sting out whenever you see what comes with the service for the fee, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that is one of the reasons why they did not want to use an agent. They also felt, this was really interesting to me. These people that were surveyed felt that the professionals did not really know more about the home selling process.
Yeah. I'm
astounded by that.
Well, I take that because here's the deal. There are millions of realtors who are like, I'm just going to go, I'm secretary by day and I'm a realtor by night.
Right.
Or whatever. I'm a bumper installer by day and a realtor. Whatever you do, they're like, anybody can do it. So they just go get a license, which really isn't that complicated.
Right.
And they jump into it. Mm-hmm. And they might sell 3 a year on accident or on purpose, either way. But
there's truth to that. I mean, an agent who sells 3 a year.
You may know more than they do, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can see this.
So I've met realtors that I'm like, oh my gosh, it is true. Anybody can do this.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Yes.
None here, of course.
None here. I mean, what is
really
this?
realtors.
A blind horse can find water, whatever that saying is,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just saying there are agents out there that are not educated, trained, corrupt properly. So yeah, I see this 100%. If I'm in a metro area and there are 5,000 agents and I find some yahoo running the coffee shop that's realtor at night, obviously I may know way more than they do.
Right. Okay, so what they ended up saying was that with their interactions, with their experiences with doing the for sale by owner process, that they found that a lot of them really wish they would have went ahead and used an agent. So here we go. Why is that? What did they run into? I missed this part. This is interesting. This is crazy. So in that process, these sellers, the for sale by owner sellers, they found that a lot of buyers distrusted them because they didn't have an agent. 43% of them said that buyers didn't trust them because they weren't using an outside agent, which makes sense. Like there's this school of thought that says, well, if you're just doing it on your own, it's because you're honest and you don't have somebody who's hiding your secrets, right? Mm-hmm. But so right now we're in an interaction with some people and the customers are like, I want my agent to only talk to me. I don't want them to talk to anybody else. I don't want the other agent to talk to me. I only want my agent. And I don't want your office to sell to the buyer. Because they want to make sure that they are so protected. And so I can see then if a buyer or a seller wants that in our office, I can imagine how that would be like as for sale by owner. With for sale by owner, you don't even have an agent helping to make sure that things are right. So I can see why a buyer might misconstrue a seller's purpose in for sale by owner.
Yep. They're hiding something. 100%.
Which I've heard this. I've heard this before. I didn't know that this was still a thing. I mean, like 13 years ago, 15 years ago when I did my GRI, I don't know. That seems like forever ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. No. But I remember them saying that. They said a for sale by owner is typically not trusted because the buyer immediately thinks they're hiding something.
Right. When if they don't use the Oklahoma State contract, they can hide stuff.
Right.
And that's part of the deal.
Because our contract is very buyer-centric.
Yes, it definitely gives the
it
buyers
very much protects
lots
the buyer.
of out.
It does.
Yep.
All right. The other thing that they said was that they struggled to understand their contract. Mm-hmm. So we have seen this. We've seen for sale by owners pull off the contract from the Oklahoma Real Estate website and use that. We go to classes to make sure we understand the contract. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we go to classes and then we go visit with the guy afterward. Like, we really try to make sure we understand the contract. I cannot imagine picking up that contract as just like with no real estate experience and going, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Like it's 7 pages, little type with lots of different scenarios and lots of different time frames, and it's hard to keep up with.
It is. And they change it every year.
Yes.
Change something.
Yes. So I can see how that would be. And that was 40% of them that was surveyed said that they struggled to understand the contract. It said they also made, and this one is so scary, they said that they made legal mistakes because they did not use an agent. 36% said that. A third of them
Wow.
That's terrifying.
I wonder, we should have a list of those.
To think about, I
Legal
know, it'd
mistakes.
be interesting to know what their mistakes were. But I mean, to think of the legal ramifications of doing this on your own because you thought, well, I'm going to save $1, this, that, and the other. Legal ramifications, maybe you lost a lot more money.
Yeah.
Ooh, scary. Okay, next up, I want to go to this next page
Okay.
because I thought that this was kind of interesting. Where did it go? It's right here. Why did I think this was interesting? Hold on. Here, you talk for a minute.
Well, yeah, I know you mentioned. I know you mentioned that only 7%.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, like across the board, NAR says that only 7% of homeowners sold as for sale by owner.
Right. Sold.
So, again, 93% sold using an agent.
Yeah. And a lot of those some of those started as for sale by owner and then moved to an agent.
Yes.
Later.
Yes.
So, which then it goes to time on market kills the value of your house.
Well, but I thought, and I wanted to just note that because, again, I don't want people to think that we're making like this huge, broad statement that has, like, we recognize this is the pocket in the market. Mm-hmm. This is not the market. For sale by owners are not the market. They're a pocket in the market. Okay, thank you. Couldn't remember where I was going with that. All right, number 3. Where are we at? Here's what our for sale by owner people said. This is sad. They said that they had lower sales prices. Said that homeowners who sold without a real estate agent are 3 times more likely to say they lost money on their home sale.
Right.
That's incredible.
Because most of them justify. I mean, some of them justify, hey, well, I didn't have to pay commission, so I'll let it go cheaper. Well, the buyer made the money. You didn't make the money. I mean, yeah.
Right. Oh, man. They said that they wish they had sold their home differently, priced it differently. Nearly half now believe that their home could have sold for more if they had used an agent.
Yeah.
I do want to say this. That's not always how we see it when we see a for sale by owner pop up.
Nope.
Like a lot of times, excuse me, I'm sorry. A lot of times, it's actually the opposite. We come in and we say, here's what we believe your home is worth. And we always tell the seller, you're the boss. You're the boss. If you want us to list it higher, we will. But this is really what we think based on the market that we're in and out every day. So a lot of times, actually, they for sale by owner higher than what we anticipated.
Yes, sometimes.
So this says that they think that they priced it low. I think, unfortunately, I don't want
in the
anybody
metros, here's what.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, in the metros.
Because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm picking on them because I'm not.
No,
I have nobody in my mind right now.
No, so I had a agent in. I have an investor buyer, Wichita. He said, "Yes, I'm going to use this word. We prey on
PREY.
Yes, which isn't really how he said it, but this is how I interpreted it. On people who aren't informed in the market. So they are very fast. So they go knock doors, talk to people who look like they need to move or trouble. They've got this mailing list, and they go knock on the door, and they're like, "Hey, I think your house is worth $200,000" in their brain. And they'll say, "Hey, what do you think your house is worth?" They'll be like, $150. Well, we'll give you $130 right now. And they just write it up knowing that the house is worth $200.
Wow.
Because they work on people not keeping up with what the market's doing.
Right.
And they move quickly. And so, and then of course they can use scare tactics like, "Hey, the market's getting ready to crash. Now's the best time to sell. You think your house is worth $250. If we go ahead and sign a contract now, give us 90 days, we'll give you $140. And then if it crashes, it doesn't matter. We're still buying it." Oh my gosh. So yeah. So a lot of the for sale by owner stuff are wholesaler people that have bought, have sold to a wholesaler way under market because they got scared into selling their house.
Which is horrible.
Right.
Absolutely horrible.
That's scary.
Which I think is the bonus of living in a small market, though. I mean, with our small market real estate, that's what we are. It's what we love. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's less of that happens here.
Not here.
But we've seen that happen here. Remember maybe a year ago, the 2 little houses north of Main Street, 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And I don't remember what the streets were.
The one over on Cherry, corner of Cherry, the White House.
Oh, I don't remember this one. No. See, our brains just don't function the same.
The poor lady was selling her house, and she got into that weird contract, 90 days, corner like 24th and Cherry. But nonetheless.
Let's go through what happens, though.
Yeah.
So, again, this is what happens. So this particular seller, she had 2 houses. Wholesalers came in, obviously didn't know the market. Mm-hmm. So they said, here's our contract. We're going to buy it, yada, yada, yada. Get to closing, and then they must have realized where they were. And they didn't get it sold. Because they're trying to resell it while they're buying.
Right. And in their contract, it says we have a 60-day
They
We can back out
till
for
the day of
any
closing.
any reason during inspection period, which is 60 days. Closing is in 60 days.
Crazy. So she calls us in a panic. Oh my gosh, we're supposed to close on this homes. They haven't sold because the people backed out, yada, yada, yada. She still doesn't realize it's a scam, I don't think. Like, she still doesn't realize, I guess it's not a scam, but it's kind of a con tactic.
It's a bad
I don't
form of
love
business.
it.
No.
I do not love it. Anyway, so we list them, we sell them. But gosh, it really broke my heart. Like,
Same thing on the one on 23rd. She signed this contract. These agents from other towns were calling us to help sell this house. We went over and met to look at the house. The lady I met at the door was like, no, tell them you're just a contractor because I don't want them to know you're an agent. And I walked through the house and I'm like way uncomfortable already. And we walked through the house and I get back outside and I said, well, I think the house is only worth like 130. It's not worth the 160 you're asking. Let me know if you need our help. I don't have any buyers. And I leave. Come and find out another agent in our office got a hold of the lady. The lady got a hold of her and trying to figure out how to get out of this 90-day contract that she thought she had her house sold, but she didn't because they had a 90-day inspection period. And they were trying to sell it during the 90 days. Well, so the other agent took care of her customer, explained the deal. They went through the contract, kicked the wholesalers out, listed a house where it needed to be, and it sold at a good price. But
Real Estate Commission has made some changes with wholesalers.
you have to have a license to wholesale.
Do you have to have a real estate license, or do you have to have a license to wholesale?
You have to have a real estate license.
Yes. So now, if there's somebody that I actually don't like that, because I really feel like it puts realtors. I feel like that real estate agent.
I think it should be a different license.
Oh man, yes. I want it to be very obvious. My real estate license is for this purpose,
Like
because
a CDL.
we're not the same type.
Right.
We're not the same type of realtor as they are.
Right.
Or real estate agent. I don't even know if they're realtors with a capital R or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think that's important. So
Yeah.
now in Oklahoma, if somebody's trying to do that and you catch on, you need to be like, I need to see your real estate license.
Yeah.
You need to check them up, look them up on the licensee search and make sure that they're even licensed in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay. So they said lower sales prices. They said they found that they had a longer selling process.
Yes. Which means, like, here's the deal. If I get buyers, I look at the MLS first. I go show them houses.
Right.
If I can't find them something, then I take the next step and I start looking at any other houses for sale, like for sale by owners.
Right.
And then if that doesn't work, then I go knocking doors.
Right.
So, but you're number 2 on my list.
Right.
If I can't sell them something that's active, then I'll call you.
But unfortunately, I think it's even low number 2 because you've already got people who are not listed with you,
Yes.
but that have
They're
told you,
potentials.
I'm ready to sell if you have the right buyer,
Right.
but I don't want my house shown to every single person.
Right.
And so, I mean, you're calling them. Like, unfortunately, the sell by owner actually has to be at the bottom of the list,
Right.
because we have an obligation. Like, it's the A+ people are the ones that are listed with us, and then like the B+ people. I don't want to say that like B string, but kind of.
Yeah.
The B string are the ones who said, "Hey,
I want to
I
sell,
want
but
you to sell, but
for
I
these
don't want to."
circumstances, I don't want it on the market.
Right. And then because we don't have the same relationship, it puts that for sale by owner kind of as the C string, right?
And we've had some for sale by owners have had some bad experiences with agents.
Yes, we
have
understand
had bad relationships, bad
experiences
with for sale by owner stuff.
Right.
It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I really sometimes just don't want to go that way again.
It's tricky for both parties. It just is.
Yeah.
So, okay, the other thing, with the longer selling process, I want to talk about this. Sometimes sellers will think if I price it a little bit high, I'm more likely to get the number that I want. And sometimes that actually means a longer selling process because a buyer doesn't want to offend you. And I think a buyer is even more concerned about offending the seller when they're interacting face to face. When they come through us, at least they have a buffer. Like, if you're the middleman, you're the one that the seller yells at for a lowball offer, right?
Right.
But if the buyer and seller and you make that offer and you upset that seller, oh, yuck. It feels bad for everybody. And it can really stunt the negotiation process back to longer days on the market.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Our goal is to get the transaction done. And if
yell at us.
If buyer and seller get off.
I met you.
Yeah. If the buyer and seller get off, then they don't make a deal. Where
Right.
if the buyer and seller get off and we're in the middle, we'll still get a deal most of the time.
Usually. Because we're able to kind of, okay, you're right. It did stink. Let's kind of de-escalate for a minute and then we can reevaluate where do we need to be and we can help work through that. It's a lot harder to work through it when you feel like somebody is personally
Attacking. Yeah.
Yep. All right. They also said there was more stress.
Oh.
Okay, here's the thing. This goes back to the bumper. I feel pretty confident. Me a couple years ago could put the bumpers on. Me today, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much stress in the research involved. Okay, is this really the right tool? And then, oh gosh, that one is so much tighter, and I don't think I can get that one loosened. And then you have to call your dad and say, Dad, remind me how to do this. And like, that's just me. My dad knows if I FaceTime him, I've started something I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Kindra, why are you under the sink? Well, Dad, I can't get this loosened. Okay, so, but for real, the stress involved and me trying to do a project that I don't do every day all the time is significantly greater than the stress involved for me doing, like,
Right.
I made a pie last night. Like, I remembered at 9 o'clock I needed to make the pie. I run to United. I get what I need. I guess it was probably like 8 o'clock, 8:30. Regardless, that was not stressful. That was easy.
Yeah.
I kind of know what I'm doing, and it was simple. And I rolled out my pie crust, and I put it into the pan, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this. I did make this one mistake, but my friend was there, and she caught me, and so I fixed it. Imagine, though, if I decide on a whim at 8 o'clock at night, today's the day I'm going to change out the bumper.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's stressful.
Yes.
That's stressful.
I generally try never to do plumbing on Friday.
Oh, no, that's not a good idea. That's definitely a Monday, so you've got all week to get a plumber to fix your mistakes.
Yes, that is correct. Yes. Yep.
Anyway, okay, I hope you see that correlation, though, with me and the bumper. Like, it probably sounds silly.
Yep. And
But legit, this is real life.
right.
It's the same thing with a for sale by owner.
Yeah. You can be successful as a for sale by owner. Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
100%. We see it all the
Yes.
time. But on the other hand, I feel like there's, according to, I can't find this exact statistic, so I'm just going to make it up.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding. I read this just recently. They said 14 to 17% more money a real estate agent gets
For the
seller.
Which means take off our commission and you still have a nice little surplus.
Still make 10%.
Still
12%.
better.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so here's where I want to say. Are we negative to for sale by owners?
Obviously, we'd prefer you to list them with us.
Brian's like, that's a trick question.
Yes.
I don't know how many times, though, that we've had somebody say, I respect you and I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I really want to do this on my own.
We're all good.
I've given pointers.
Oh, yeah.
You too. Like, so it's not a negative, like, we're not grumbling about you in the office.
No.
It is not like that. But we would much rather prefer to do it with you.
Yes.
That's how I think it is, right?
Yeah. So call
let
us.
us save you the stress.
That's right. So call us. I'm Brian Cook, 580-334-2303.
And I'm, who am I?
Kindra Brown.
I almost said my phone number first. I'm Kindra Brown, 580-216-0090.
All right. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.